Welcome, everybody. We're going to give everyone here a second to file into the webinar. And once we have a couple people in here, we'll get the ball rolling. It usually takes about a minute or two after the start time for people to start filing in. Sometimes people file in over the course of the webinar. We had people coming in and out. We did one yesterday. People were kind of coming in and out. So.
With your Harvard connections, that is a huge platform for you.
Which one?
The connection with Harvard, being able to go and talk, that's massive.
It's really cool. Really, a bunch of smart kids doing really cool stuff. So it's really helpful.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Give it one more minute here. Then we can kick it off. Let me see. I usually like to start at like 2 minutes after. So 2:02 we'll start.
Yeah, that'll work. What's that temperature like there?
It's cold today. It's the first time. So, and welcome to the people who've just joined us. We're just about to kick off here. Why don't we get it started, Claude?
All right, let's go.
All right, so welcome everyone to Netcapital's live webinar with College Coaching Network. I'm here with Claude Harris, the founder and CEO. And so the way this works is I'm going to ask Claude a bunch of questions about his company. We're going to dig into the business, figure out what he's got going on and what the investment opportunity looks like. College Coaching Network is currently live and raising capital on netcapital.com. So anyone who listens and wants to invest can go to netcapital.com, look up College Coaching Network, and invest in that company. And so without further ado, I'll introduce you to Claude Harris here. Claude, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, grateful for the opportunity, Rob. Thank you so much.
Happy to have you. So just to kick it off, give us the overview. What does College Coaching Network do?
Yeah, definitely. So we are like a mobile guidance counselor experience where we help the kids get scholarships for college. We link them to universities so they can actually have everything in place to talk to them about their endowments, and we teach them some tips and strategies of how to kind of leverage the endowments from the universities to get more money out of the schools and reduce their overall student loans. So we hate student loans here at College Coaching Network, and we want to empower students where they actually can graduate and not have that student loan debt on their necks. So that's pretty much what we're up to.
Great. And it seems relevant given the current discussion about college tuition.
Yes, sir.
So I'm looking forward to diving into the product itself. But in the meantime, give us a little background on you. Tell us about you, how you started the company, and what kind of got you into this.
Yeah, definitely. It came out of pain for me and my situation. I came out of high school, had a long time ago. I had a 3.875 GPA. I only scored in the Midwest, so from Kansas City. I only had a 17 on my ACT. So not very good score. I went to go to college. My mom basically depleted her 401k from Procter & Gamble, where she worked at the time, just to get me into college at Pittsburgh University. I was fortunate enough to walk on the basketball team and get a scholarship. And I knew then that I didn't want to see people go through the stress that my mom and I went through. And so I believe it kind of started in my heart as an idea then. But then I kind of got on to taking my securities license. I had my 7 and all that. And I found out that I wasn't a bad test taker. I just wasn't prepared. And so I created a program to give more preparation to students that would allow them to have an opportunity to get scholarships and understand the whole college planning process. Because a lot of first-time generation college-bound students like myself didn't have a clue. My mom didn't know how to navigate me through this because she never went to college to get a degree. And me being a first-time person, I didn't know what I was going through either. So I wanted to create a program that created equality for everyone and gave them an opportunity to do something positive with their life.
That's fantastic. And are you a one-person team, one-man team, or do you have people working with you?
Yes, sir. So I actually have, I stepped out on faith and we brought a new team member on who's my admin, which I needed in the worst way. Her is Mika Jones. She's awesome. So she works with us on a lot of our graphics and things of that sort. I do have a graphics designer that does a lot of independent things for us. We have a web development team. I have a tech team that's from California. When we initially started our app, we did it from a team that was from offshore. But the cost of what we've invested into this new version of our virtual app that I'm excited to talk about, I needed to make sure someone was here domestically. So I have a team that is here onshore, and they do a great job for us as well. So we have a pretty good team.
That's great. And yeah, I'm excited to get into the product itself. But right before we get there, you told us a little bit about it in your personal story, but talk to us about the problem that you're addressing at College Coaching Network. What does it look like? What are the stats? What's the problem you're trying to solve?
Yeah, definitely. So like when I was in high school, my guidance counselor never talked to me about ACT test prep, how to get prepared, how that impacted my financial aid. I mean, that conversation just never came about. So I did more research on it, and I found out the average amount of time that a student spends with a guidance counselor nationally is 38 minutes. And that's over their whole entire high school career, which I thought was just unbelievable. So I wanted to create a program that actually continued that conversation that they may have with their guidance counselor, because some students don't have a conversation at all, like I didn't. But we want to make sure that they actually have an opportunity to have that conversation that can continue through a mobile app. We know a lot of students have mobile apps, and they're graduated from high school. They don't know how to choose a career. They don't know how to pick a college. They don't know how to go through financial aid. They don't know how to write an essay, how to find private scholarships. I mean, the list goes on. So there's so many different things that they don't know how to get through. And these families, again, are still in 2019, we still have first generation college bound students, which is crazy in 2019 that that's still an issue. But it is, right? And these families really don't know where to go. They can go online and research this stuff, but they don't know, who to believe and what have you. So we want to create it, not having a static app, but actually having an engaging app where they can talk back and forth with us, and we can walk them through the hurdles that they're dealing with in their own specific situation.
Yeah, so I imagine for first generation college students, it's got to be a really daunting task to try to navigate everything and afford to pay for college these days, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Exactly. So this is a great time for us to kind of finally hear what's College Coaching Network about. Talk to us about the app, what it does, what kind of features it has, everything like that.
Yeah, definitely. So just how the evolution of the app, just to go there real quick.
Yep.
When we first initiated the app, I did it. I didn't even know I was going to do it as an app, to be honest with you. I went out and my heart was to try to educate people. I have my degree and my licenses in financial services. So I was trying to separate myself from a lot of guys that were in that industry. And so I got certified and all that in college planning. What I noticed was most of the people wanted the college planning advice more than they wanted my financial services. But it was done as a lead generation initially, right? Where the conversation started because they had an immediate need. So I had to learn quickly to separate the two. And so basically, long story short, a friend of mine told me about a tech class that I could go to. And I got to a point, Rob, where I had about maybe 500 to 700 families that got referred to me. And I was seeing about 7 to 15 families per week, going to their home, dogs biting on my shoelaces, or at their kitchen tables, all that stuff.
You're really cutting the pavement.
Yeah, right. For like 7 years, in the beginning stages before I got to the tech portion of it. And so I said, man, I got like 400 or 500 families, and now I'm calling them in 20, whatever it was. And those kids had basically graduated from high school, and I never was able to have those meetings. We scheduled times, they rescheduled or whatever. So I never could meet with them. I'm like, man, there's too many kids, and there's only me. And so when I went to tech class, I said, okay, how do I take my intellectual knowledge that I have as far as a blueprint system that I did with the YMCA, and we won like multiple awards to the YMCA. How do I take that program and get it in the hands of more people? And then when I found out that I could use tech to take intellectual knowledge and put it into technology, I'm like, game changer, right? So I went out, started putting everything into the tech portion, and then I had to do like a Shark Tank pitch in Kansas City with the Kauffman Foundation, and we won a $25,000 grant through Kauffman. And so we took that and developed the first iteration of the app, and so it's out in the App Store. So I know you'll probably ask questions about a revenue model, but we have it out there and we make money from our app because we let people license it. I go deeper at another time on that piece. But then from that point, we're now moving into phase 2, which we're now going virtual, because most of these kids that are being taught from our program on how to find scholarships, how to write essays and all those things, now they don't know how to have the soft skills to have a conversation with an admission advisor. So now our app is going virtual. So we're going to have it where there's a virtual booth built into our app, And we just partnered, I don't even think you know this, we just partnered with UVisit.
Oh, great.
UVisit actually has 600 augmented reality virtual college tours that kids can put the augmented reality glasses on and look at the virtual experience of a college campus through our app.
Great.
Game changer, man. So I'm very happy about that. But this is because some kids can't, they can't go to North Carolina or whatever. But now through an augmented reality experience, we can get these kids engaged to what the college campus looks like before they even actually take that trip down to the university. So I'm excited about that. But we wanted to make it where it's entertaining and education kind of all coupled within a college planning experience. So that's where we're up to. And I'm excited to be able to create this platform for sure.
That's great. So just to take a step back for a second. So if I'm a student, I can download your app and
Yes.
I can use it to look at colleges, learn about scholarship programs, et cetera.
Yes, so they will go through an 8-step system we have. We help them with career exploration. So they'll do a career assessment test through the portal. Everything that they do in the app now has gamification. So everything that they look at as far as a video, a PDF or anything, it gives them points. And all the people that have the top points in our top 25 list, they get monthly prizes for doing the incentives for preparing themselves for a better life. Right. So I'm excited about that part because we want to create the competition, but it's a healthy competition. Right. So they go through that. They go through how to do the ACT and SAT, how to write a resume, how to do recommendation letters, all those things they need to do before they actually go to a college fair. Right. So they get trained on that. And then we actually bring the college fair to them through the virtual experience so they can actually chat directly with university and admissions advisors right through our app real time. And they can upload all those documents and transfer those into the portal and get real-time scholarships within this app.
That's great. And so you mentioned it, but just to confirm on the university side of things, how do universities interact with your app?
Great.
Or admissions officers?
Yes, so we have 2 login portals. One is a student-based portal, which they'll have to put in their GPA and all those things. So because the universities want to search for particular students that have maybe a psychology major or a certain GPA or ACT test score. So the students have a more robust registration page, but the universities actually have just an admin page and they'll log in from there and then they can actually chat directly with our students. They can receive emails from our students and then they have their own inbox where the students can inbox them and then they create their own hours when they come out because we're open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. for chat between universities and students, but we want to make sure that everyone's involved at the same time.
That's great. So talk to me a little bit about the market for your product. How big is the market? How many students are graduating? How many universities are interested in this kind of thing? How big is this opportunity?
About 160 million total in the education technology space. We narrowed ours down to more 3 specific target markets, which is about 198,000. There's about 37,000 high schools, public or private. We work with companies that as an employee benefit program. So the AFL-CIO labor union, which is like the big labor union here in Kansas nationally, have 12 million members in the union. They pay for us to be an employee benefit to justify their union dues. So we thought, this is another play because we can make it as an employee benefit. They only offer like 529 plans, 100 to 249 employees. There's about 160,000 companies that are in that band. And then there's 37 top youth organizations like our relationship with Big Brothers Big Sisters or the YMCA. And we're getting ready to bring on Boys and Girls Club. So I'm happy about that. We're in negotiations with them, finalizing that now. So there's 37 of those. So out of those, it's 198,000 that are in our total target. For us to hit our numbers for exit, we need to have about 8 to 9% penetration to actually execute what we're trying to do for exiting in this space.
That's great. And now's a good time to talk about it. You mentioned a couple partners there. Can you talk to me about the organizations you partnered with to kind of get this off of the ground and to increase your distribution?
Yeah, definitely. So our biggest one right now is the AFL-CIO labor union. It took me about 2.5 years to submit that relationship. It was a long tail process. But with all the things we've done, it has definitely sped up to them. I don't know if you ever heard of Police Athletic League. They're called PAL. So they're a partner of ours. Sally Mae is a partner of ours. They actually came out and kind of talked to us about our program and thought we would put them in front of more people. They have $18 billion in scholarships on a search engine that they do, and we tie that into our app now. We partner with the local high schools and youth organizations. Urban League is a national partner of ours, the YMCA, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we have a lot of local high schools and youth organizations in town in Kansas City that use us as well. But 6 of those are national organizations. We have 2,800 locations that they're in out of those 6 national. And over the next 12 to 15 months, we want to launch in 900 of those locations. We're getting warm introductions already from the people that love us here to go into other cities and states to launch our program. So we're excited about that.
That's great. And that's a great time to talk about. So you started in kind of the Kansas City area with some national partners. What are the next markets you're looking to expand to? And kind of what does 2020 look like for College Coaching Network?
3 main ones is Florida, Chicago, and we're also looking up east. So it's going to either be New York or also either in Virginia. One of those 2. We're still kind of on the fence about one of those 2 because we have a couple partners that have a lot of locations. We're trying to see which one of those we want to target more in those areas, but definitely Chicago and Florida for sure. But the East Coast, we're still kind of on the fence on which one of those 2, Virginia or going to be in New York. So we'll see. But we know that those have, we have them in all states. So when they make this introduction to us to launch, if they come to us from other states outside of those main ones that we're targeting, we're bringing all in. You know, it doesn't matter to me where they're coming from. It's tech, so we can scale it out to wherever we need it to be. But we're just doing a lot of our concentrations in our marketing and groundwork in those areas.
That makes sense. And you've touched on this in a couple different points, but talk to me about the business model of College Coaching Network. How are you guys driving revenue? Who do you consider your customers to be?
Yeah, great question. So we make our money from 3 segments: high schools, public or private, employee benefit programs, and youth organizations. So we have 3 programs. It's our gold, silver, and our platinum. Most of the people just elect to go to platinum. That allows all the users to have access to our app. That means that they white label it. So if you go in the app store, you'll see like one of our partners has their logo in the Android or iOS app store. So it looks like it's consistent with their brand. But when they download the app, it's all of our technology, all of our support, and all of our curriculum, right? But we let them kind of make it look like it's actually their portion of their program. So we, on average, make about $3,500 per customer that we bring on. When we do that, we have a 94% right now retention rate. So the only time I lost a client was because it was an affordability issue. They didn't have the capacity to keep it up. So we have great retention, and we believe that, when you look at the actual cost per user, they pay more for pizza than they do for being able to. And then the last thing I'll say is, if you hire a guidance counselor, that expense is probably anywhere between $45,000 to $70,000 a year, depending upon the market. Mm-hmm. This is basically an enhancement of a guidance counselor, but you're doing it at a fraction of the expense to that high school. So that's the reason why.
And when you said $3,500, is that per year, per month?
That's per year. That's per year. It's an annual licensing fee. I should be more clear on that, but that's an annual licensing fee that they pay for that. And that, again, allows them to get the white labeling, all the tech support, and then any updates that we have in our software. That's all embodied in that, which allows them to offer that app to their whole user or student body.
And am I clear in thinking that you have high schools and other organizations all paying for this right now?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have revenue. We're at about an 80% plus profit margin because it's the same technology. We just white label it for them, and then we drive them all into the same user experience. So we love our profit margins. They're phenomenal.
That's great. And so again, you've mentioned this a little bit, but what are the next major milestones? Kind of after you finish this fundraise, how do you plan to use the money, and where do you see it taking you?
So we want to make sure that we scale by not having a lot of team members. We have like a lot of automation that we can use. So we're driving everyone like that in our 3 target markets into a specific webinar that talks to their industry, just to give them a general overview of what we do. And then from there, their call to action is to receive a free information kit and that will go out to them digitally so they can actually see it, but that will raise something on our radar that we now need to have a live person getting in contact with them. And then so we have an onboarding experience to take them from that stage into actually customer acquisition. So it'll be more of making sure that our systems are in place for those things, for the warm introductions to our 6 major partners. And then from there to consistently take our profits and just reinvest back in to scale back up faster. So we only need 15% of our profits for operational expenses. We work pretty lean. And from there, we can just continue to dump back in. So we want to get to 3.2 million within the next 12 to 15 months as far as annual recurring revenue. And then we want to take those funds and reinvest back in to go to our next inflection point, which is for us to get to 2,500 partners, which will push us around about 11.7 million. So, yeah.
And when you get to those big inflection points, what do you see, without, obviously we can't tell the future, but what do you see as a potential exit for College Coaching Network? Do you kind of want to run it forever and do dividends? Do you want to, you see it as a potential exit? And do you have an idea of who might be able to be an acquirer of a company like this?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been told by people, and I think some people are just excited about the idea and what we're doing. So people are kind of giving me making my head bigger than what probably it should be here. But we've been told that people in the financial services industry would love to possibly acquire us. Sullivan, which is like a great educational learning platform, because we would at this point in the 5-year portion is where we want to be for exiting. We'll have about 14.5 million users that will have downloaded our app. And we would have roughly about 17,000 partners, right, that are all national. So that's a lot of people that are consistently in our systems that we would have access to through either push notifications, having their contact information via email, or what have you. So there's a lot of value in that database. But Google would be another possible person, because we're kind of creating a cohort or a networking atmosphere, but just in a niche of college planning. And so I think someone like a possible Facebook or Google or one of those big, we call them FANGs, those publicly traded tech space companies may want to look at acquiring us for sure. So we know that there's the big industry of people that love ed tech companies that have a good following. 188 million is what our potential, right now it's all hypothetical, but we would be at a $62.7 million annual recurring revenue with about 17,000 partners. And with that means, and that's not even including other revenue models we can add to it, but just at our core, at that $3,500 package that we offer, that would allow us to hopefully exit at a 3 times multiple at about 188 million.
That sounds great. Very exciting. So Claude, as we come to a close here and start wrapping up, is there anything else you want potential investors to know about you, to know about the company? What are your final thoughts for them?
Yeah, definitely. I'm very, very passionate and grateful that, that I was called to help students out in this area. The more you help students out, the more you find out there's a big problem. Recently, just actually yesterday, I had a student that went to Drake University, and his financial aid wasn't where it needed to be, and he had to come home. And so I had a connection over at one of our partners, Calvary College, and he's a Christian college. I sent him over there, and the president said she loved him and said that his financial aid and all that stuff is done. The only thing he's going to have to pay now to go to college is $900.
Wow.
$900, right? And so he wants to be in the technical field where he does like design and work and stuff like that. So just to see a kid that was home, he was hopeless. He didn't know how he was going to, make ends meet because his mom didn't have any money saved to send him to college. And for me to just be able to have a relationship that I could turn this kid on to somebody. I mean, he did the work. I just had the relationship. But now he's in a position to go back to college and do something positive with his life. That's why I'm breathing. That's why I'm here. So I'm just grateful to be able to serve.
That's fantastic. And we did actually get one question from the audience. So I'll ask you an audience question. Just can you comment on the key risks of the current business and your growth projections? So, what's risky about this? What can go wrong?
Yeah. So the risk is one of the things that kind of does scare me is I have so many people right now that are like, I need you to talk to this person, this person, this person. If we have like a lot of people that are coming in really fast, we have support systems and everything in place, But if everybody comes in really fast and wants to go like right now, how do I handle onboarding people, but do it in a stage where I create a great customer experience. But if I have to put somebody on hold for a while, just maybe a week or so to onboard them, that I don't lose them, because we have so much influx. And I think if you have a great service, people will understand that you're ramping up, especially if you have great communication points along the way. But you never had that issue. It's always been, if they need help, I'm immediately there and doing everything I need to do. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to make sure that I can automate. So that's not going to be a problem moving forward. But I think growth is a problem. You got to handle it. So I'm just trying to play chess and think ahead of that. And I think as far as just the overall risk or the being able to hit these milestones, we know our customer acquisition costs. We've kind of went through and quantified that. And I'm a numbers nerd. I have a degree in accounting, so I go through like numbers all the time. So we're between $250 to about $400 in customer acquisition costs. So we know that we can actually have a targeted growth rate based upon that customer acquisition cost. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, Claude, well, appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. For anyone watching, just a reminder, Claude and his company, College Coaching Network, is available for investment on netcapital.com. If anyone's got questions, they can find my email address. It's rob.burnett@netcapital.com down below. If anyone has got additional questions for Claude, they can go to Netcapital, find their College Coaching Network page, and there's a discussion board there. And you can ask questions and hear from other investors and learn more about the company there. So with that, Claude, thanks for taking the time to join us.
I appreciate the opportunity. You have a great day.
You too. Have a good one. Thanks everyone for joining.